The title is correct. Like, her power level by the end goes bananas and she actually really cares about her toys. But also, the amount of unnecessary gatekeeping in this show is wild. Like, there's actually no reason she has to keep this a secret.
Your video to the show. I do.
But lovers, welcome back to the Lore series, where we overanalyze shows no one else is brave enough to. As always, although the shows I cover are made for kids, say it with me, my videos are not. It's fun to watch a 26-year-old nut try to apply logic and spiral over these shows. I don't know what to tell you. Before we begin, thank you so much to the King of Squishmallows for providing makeup inspiration for today's episode.
We are number one.
First things first, the theme song sung by Disney legend China Anne McClain immediately cured me of any and all pain. It was not only catchy, but the vibes were so cozy, and I wouldn't expect that from such an upbeat song. The doc is in, and she'll fix you up. If you're a toy, then you're in luck. So fun. Our main character, Dottie McStuffins, also known as Doc McStuffins. Now, on this channel, when a character's name matches the title of the series, we'd call them a titular bitchular, but that once again feels weird to do because she's a child. But you, with your adult money, can now purchase the titular bitchular shirt. It's actually happening. Pre-order goes up March 1st. More information at the end of the video. I'm so excited about this. But I didn't watch 136 episodes to dilly-dally, okay? The moment Doc puts on her stethoscope, her toys come to life. Lammy immediately acts like a bit of a diva, saying she's sick of Stuffy the Dragon being her knight and she wants a real knight to play with. Doc goes to her brother Donnie's room, borrows his toy knight, and immediately recognizes something's wrong. It's rancid and sticky and disgusting, that's what. But even though it's obvious, Doc has to do her usual routine for a checkup. Time for your checkup, time for your checkup. She looked in his ears, heard his heart, and his height. Find out how much you grow. We'll get into that later. Do toys grow? So many questions right off the bat. But the only thing that was wrong is he's disgusting. They identified his mystery goop as grape jelly and pizza cheese. I was eating this episode and I almost tossed my Captain Crunch. Fucking gnarly. Much like the village of goldfish crackers chilling under the bed in those commercials, somebody needs to look at Donnie's room because I fear we've only seen the tip of the trash heap. Doc diagnoses the knight with icky sticky disease. Every time Doc says her diagnosis, her stuffed hippo nurse named Hallie grabs the big book of boo-boos so they can track everything. Here's part of the episode that really bothers me. Doc prescribed a bath. And I was like, great, that makes sense. But when Doc took a bath with him, I imagined the grape jelly and the pizza cheese in the bath water with her. I'm so upset. I'm so upset. A lot of the times when the patient feels better, they sing the I Feel Better song. I feel better, so much better. Thank you, Doc, for taking all the ouchies away. I remember that vividly from when my sister was a kid and I was watching over her shoulder, but pretending to be too cool to watch because I was a teenager. Oh, little did Athena know. Now for episode 1B, a bad case of the prickle thorns. This episode starts with Doc's brother Donnie and one of his friends playing with Boppy. Boppy is one of those toys where no matter how hard you try to push him down, he always pops back up. It's so funny knowing these toys are alive because we are witnessing pure violence. Doc's dad is gardening and he pricks his finger on a rose thorn. She cleans his wound, gives him a band-aid and a kiss. It's so sweet. I love seeing stay-at-home dads. I feel like with everything going on nowadays, there's so much alt-right pipeline garbage about traditional feminine and masculine roles.
If a man's not a breadwinner, he's a bread loser. Like, where's the bread? You leave it at the store?
It's total bullshit. Any parent can take on any role. Until the last 2 seasons when we never see them again, but that's another story. In this episode, we meet Chili, who's an extreme hypochondriac. Doc constantly has to talk this guy off the ledge.
Look at me, I'm white as a sheet.
God, I can hear Ben Shapiro bitching about this now.
The stuffed animal, Chili the snowman, thinks there's something wrong with being white.
I swear this is the last time I'll make a joke about people who call everything woke, but I hate how relatable Chili is. Has anyone checked on this man post 2020? This must have been so rough on him. Doc, you gotta help me. Chili, you already took 5 tests today alone and they all came back negative. What else do you want me to do? No, it's not about that. Stuffy told me I have ligma. Chili, he's messing with you. He said it's on my balls. When Donnie and his friend Will go to Doc for help, Doc tells the toys to go stuffed. This is exactly like Toy Story, where they have to pretend to freeze and not be alive. Stuffy the dragon is a bit stupid and has to be told again. We see the extent of Stuffy's stupidity and carelessness and clumsiness when he is given the important task of blocking the hole in the popped boppy, so he doesn't deflate. For a few seconds, Stuffy celebrates that he's good at this job, taking his hands off the wound, and Boppy deflates even more. I don't think this guy is ready to be in a medical setting. Doc finds out how Boppy keeps popping himself. It's on the same bushes her dad hurt himself on. Expert foreshadowing. This is a good way to teach kids how to observe patterns for problem solving and deduction. Some other foundational things about this show before we move on. In the second episode, we learned that Doc's mom is a doctor, so she is inspired by her mom. She wants to be exactly like her mom. It's so cute. And there are 3 recurring songs for you. I already mentioned Time for Your Checkup and I Feel Better So Much Better, and season 2 introduces a new recurring song, Hey, Tell Me What's Wrong, What's Going On. So cute, where she's like consoling a toy that's going through it emotionally. No skips in DOC MCSTUFFINS. I've listened to these songs over 100 times and I never skipped. But that's just me. I'm dedicated to my craft. Out of the Box is the first time we see how elaborate the relationships between toys can get. Because we've seen them all be friends, we've seen Lammy and Hallie have crushes, but in this episode we saw a father and son Jack in the Box duo. Little Jack tells Big Jack he's trying to pop out of the box,
Just like you taught me.
so even before Doc brings them to life, they have a life, and a bond, and memories. While little Jack is afraid of getting a checkup, he asks his dad,
Are you gonna come with me?
and his dad assures him,
Are you kidding me? You can't get rid of me, kid.
which in this context is sweet, but really, let's think about it. He's right. The only way these two could be separated would be completely out of their control, like if they were thrown out or sold at a yard sale. But if these two had a big falling out, but they were still under the roof of the same human, they'd be forced together. What would happen then? Would Doc play therapist, working out the interpersonal family drama? Also, is little Jack going to stay a kid forever? These are the questions I was asking myself. Doc diagnoses little Jack with can't pop up itis because his clothes are stuck in the gears that make him pop up. Chili asks if it's contagious, and Doc assures him he has nothing to worry about because he doesn't pop up. He's not a pop-up toy. But is there a toy sickness that can spread? In season 1, episode 7A, there's a duo of monkeys, Ben and Anna, and together they're Ben Anna. And they always hug each other. I'm gonna read my notes to you as I wrote them so you can go on this journey with me. At first I said, I'm obsessed with these two. They're literally made for each other.
We were made to go together. See? It says so right here.
When Ben's Velcro rips off, they try everything to get them back together, even while Chili is trying to home wreck.
Because I think I need a hug right about now. Ooh, nice one.
They're jumping on each other, they're super clingy, they don't want to be apart, but Ben accepts that he has to be at the hospital overnight. Anna says she'll be thinking about him all night. It's quite literally the most romantic tension I've ever seen in my life, before I'm hit with this. Holy shit, they're siblings, I did not see that coming. In the season 2 finale, Twin Tweaks, we see another pair of siblings whose abilities are attaching to each other, but this time they're acrobats. So it makes sense, it's their profession, and plus they're far less creepy about it. The monkeys seriously scar me. We have an actual couple in the form of Walter and Gracie, seen in the episode Walkie Talkie Time. He refers to her as his better half, he calls her sweetheart, his heart beats for her, she calls him honey bunny. I was bracing for impact, convinced I was watching another episode of siblings and dating, but luckily they are indeed in love. And we love to see it. Let's pretend I didn't post a video last week all about divorced couples.
It's alive! It's alive!
In season 1, episode 2B, Rundown Race Car, the cure for Donnie's race car not being fast anymore was to recharge it. And this was compared to human sleep. So I just assumed this type of rest was exclusive to electronic toys, but in the very next episode, Tea Time Tantrum, Susie Sunshine is very cranky. And it's because she didn't sleep well. She has eyes wide itis. She's one of those dolls that when you lay her down, her eyes are supposed to close. But at Doc's sleepover from yesterday with her friend, and they got melted mango ice pop on her eyes, preventing Susie from closing them. Oh, I'd act way more snappy if I were her. She can't sleep because she has mango juice in her eye. Holy shit. Throughout the episode, Lammy and Stuffy were also yawning. So I feel like every toy needs sleep, but they go about it in different ways. Stuffy and Lammy, when they're not brought to life, have no way of closing their eyes, and they're also not electronic. They're stuffed animals, so they might just be used to sleeping with their eyes open. Another thing to note is that Doc was able to see there was something wrong with Susie just because of her personality shift, just because she was acting out of character. So she tracks the emotional well-being of her patients too. But her approach is interesting. Oh, you feel angry? Step on the scale. Let's first, right out of the gate, make sure weight isn't the issue. Are you trying to piss her off more? Doc, I'm depressed. Step on the scale. Fuck that. In episode 3B Blast Off, Doc's neighbor Carlos accidentally launches his rocket over the fence and into Doc's yard. The impact affected the alien toy inside. The dude's arms and legs fell off.
Her arms were cut off. Her legs were cut off.
This is definitely the most severe case we've seen so far. And it gets even more complicated. When the toy comes to life, he isn't screaming in pain or in a state of shock, which is good. I just thought he'd wake up screaming. But you know, in hindsight, that would be scary for the kids watching. The next thing we see is his arms and legs running away from him. Actually, you know what? That's more scary. Hey! Get back here right now! They also have to listen to this toy alien's heart in his foot. A lot of the toys are kind of programmed with their backstory, kind of like Buzz Lightyear. The alien's knees also honk, but that could just be the design of the physical toy. And if you were wondering, the cure for fall apartitude was for the alien to wear his seatbelt.
Ryan, look out!
The amount of lessons they're able to cram into this format is impressive. In Season 1, Episode 6A, Arcade Escapade, we see that Doc isn't fully in control of her powers because without realizing it, she brought toys from the arcade claw game to life, and they continued to call her name until they got her attention. This is also the first confirmation of her powers not just being an imagination game. They really hammered that point home by Season 4, but this was the first time I saw it, and I did a huge sigh of relief. There were more examples of this in Season 1, like in Walkie Talkie Time, when Doc's dad woke up to the sound of Chili's voice. I love disproving the dismissiveness of, oh, it's all within the child's mind. It makes my job feel, I don't know, more important. All right, I'm clocking in. Oh, can't believe I'm working a double today.
Super job. Nothing like sunshine to drag the last of the water left in your fur. I can't get used to this. The last time I had this much fun was when Alma took me to school.
Back to the claw machine toys. Apparently they've heard about Doc's ability to fix toys, probably from other kids who've come into the arcade. So this giraffe named Gabby has an open wound on her leg, and she sings a very sad ballad about how no kid wants a broken toy. Not a dry eye in the theater. After they fix Gabby the giraffe, Doc even brings her home. I checked the wiki to see if Gabby shows up again, and she does, in the background. This is also where I found this hilarious exchange that I just had to share everywhere. So you've probably already seen this, but a giraffe. I know it's a giraffe. Who cares? You can't say anything on the internet without being jumped. In the very next episode, Starry Starry Night, there's a telescope that's blurry because there's a missing part. When used as an object, she does not have a face, but when Doc's stethoscope brings her to life, the telescope sprouts a face. Her name is Aurora, and because her lens is out of focus, she also sees everything blurry as well. In the Season 1 episode, Wrap It Up, Doc says Niles is the perfect height for a crane his age. We could easily dismiss this as her using human checkup language, but she also takes her job as a toy doctor very seriously, so can these toys age and change height? I don't see how that would be without other people catching on. In Season 1, Episode 15B, A Whale of a Time, this is contradicted because we have confirmation that most toys don't grow. The only one that we've met that does is this new sponge toy whale. In the first episode of Season 2, when Doc is trying to help a toy at a public playground, her first aid kit does not have what the toy needs to be fixed, so she feels awful. So awful hospital, she scrambled to make a mobile toy clinic so she can help any toy anywhere to the best of her ability. Doc's friend Emmy broke her leg, but on the bright side, Emmy got this Dr. Teddy Bear. Even though Emmy just got home from the hospital, she gives her Dr. Teddy Bear to Doc. I do not know why. Maybe Doc's friends are catching on and kind of talking behind her back. Have you noticed that Doc plays with her toys like way more than we do? Yes, it makes me feel bad that she's having that much fun with them. And have you noticed that she's specifically fixing them when no one else is around? It's like she likes to be alone with them. You're telling me I broke my fucking leg. She does not care. When my toy breaks his leg, she looks like she's gonna cry. It's gotten to the point where I'm literally giving her my toys so she can have playdates with them instead of me. Jesus. But does she give me her toys to play with every once in a while? No. Doc trains Emmy's Dr. Teddy Bear, named Tundra, how to be a doctor. By the end of season 2, Doc also opens a veterinary branch. You may be confused because she's dealt with many animal toys before, but the vet is specifically for animal toys that make the animal sounds and act more like the animal that they are. Like Findo the robotic puppy, and the baby goats Maria, Wilma, and Tallulah. And instead of the Time for Your Checkup song, they sing Take Your Pet to the Vet. It's not as much of a bop, but you know, it is what it is. In the season 3 episode Nurse's Office, the toys go to toy school led by Professor Hootsburg. She is a super knowledgeable owl. And even while playing, know this, Professor Hootsburg would not make up anything. She is very intense about facts. So when she mentioned the cuddly revolution, my ears perked up, but they never clarified what that was and they never mentioned it again.
I'm gonna sue you out of existence.
Disney is a big enough corporation where they don't have to do this. I think they were just trying to be cheeky. In the episode Gulpy Gulpy Gators, we meet creatures of the same name, the titular pitchulars, and they work exactly like Hungry Hungry Hippos. Doc has to help the green gator named Gustav, who is extremely full to the point where he can't eat anymore because Donnie added more marbles to the game. In the episode Karate Kangaroos, there are these mechanical kangaroos clearly in a boxing ring. It's a parody of Rock'em Sock'em Robots. So calling them karate kangaroos when it's clearly boxing just for the sake of alliteration is so funny. It's such a power move. Also, I know the kangaroos keep calling each other mate because they're Australian, but I still ship them. In the season 2 episode Doc to the Rescue, Doc hears the cries of Dress Up Daisy, who is stuck in a tree from her parachute. When Doc gets Daisy down, Doc's babysitter Catherine reveals that Daisy's been up there for quite some time and that Daisy's her toy, but she outgrew her toy, so she gave Daisy to Doc. We see much more of Dress Up Daisy with her many outfits and careers, with the clear inspiration being Barbie. Farmer Mac from the season 2 episode Goats A-Cuddlin' looks like a Playmobil. And in the season 3 episode Factory Fabulous, we see Lager O' Lemurs, which is exactly like those Barrel of Monkey toys. Just a chain of primates. This next one is more of a stretch, but season 4 episode 17B, we see a train made out of, I shit you not, dinosaurs. It was a dinosaur train, guys. In the season 1 episode, My Huggy Valentine, Doc gets this new heart toy who really unsettles me for some reason. She looks like she can be in Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Am I wrong? Maybe it's the fact that she has a tongue. I don't know. She's just so weirdly detailed in the mouth. I don't know. But anyway, her personality is very sweet. She's kind. She loves hugs. She upstages everyone's homemade Valentines so much to the point where Lammy is super jealous. Valentine's Day is her favorite holiday, so she's used to the attention always being on her. Before Val even says anything, Lammy is like, why is she here? Can she get her checkup over with so she can finally leave? Girl was on high alert. Lammy was being so dramatic. Doc sees Lammy acting off, so she gives Lammy a checkup, which is when she discovers tears in Lammy's eyes. Give me a break. Here's another bizarre detail. As Lammy sings the I Feel Better song, Hallie takes a look into the big book of boo-boos, and she sees the drawing of Lammy dancing around as Lammy sings. That never happens again. It was a weird choice. I don't know. The second Lammy jealousy episode was in season 2's Disco Daisy Dress Up. Lammy was diagnosed with I wanna boo-boo syndrome. I would die of embarrassment if that were me. She tries to get a cast because she's jealous of Daisy. I know this show's for kids, but grow up, dude. In the season 2 episode A Tale of Two Dragons, Stuffy was jealous of this new mechanical dragon action toy. And this Stuffy jealousy episode episode was a long time coming, because he always tries to play the role of Scary Dragon in all the games they play, and no one really takes him seriously. They all kind of laugh at him. So yes, in this episode, Donnie's action toy Dragon Bot had so many features. His wings pop out, his eyes glow, his roar is scarier and more dragon-like, and Stuffy seeing his friends get scared and saying, "This is the best dragon scaresless game we've ever played," he gets sad, and it makes sense. Once again, the toy who feels left out, in this case Stuffy, just sighs in Doc's face until she makes them feel better. Do you want to communicate with me, or you want to keep doing that? This episode is all about acknowledging your strengths. Doc tells Stuffy that even though Dragonbot can be scary, Stuffy gives really good hugs, and Dragonbot can't. By the end of the episode, we even see Dragonbot appreciate Stuffy, and he even expresses that he wishes he were the funny dragon. The patience they have for Stuffy and Lammy does not extend to Hallie, unfortunately. There's an episode entitled Big Head Hallie, because she gets excited seeing that Hallie doll's got a TV show. Sure, maybe she takes it a little too far, but the way she's glued to the screen tells me she didn't know there were options outside of being a nurse. Doc even says, "My parents got a nurse, Hallie, because they knew how much I wanted to be a doctor." Continuity error, because later on in the series we saw that the grandma got her nurse Hallie. I'm getting ahead of myself. Doesn't it seem like Hallie was forced into this role? Like, sure, she loves it, but she didn't really have a choice. Like, the group didn't start being annoyed once Hallie was acting like a show-off. They started getting annoyed when she wasn't doing her nursely duties for like 2 seconds. Does she ever get a day off? Let her enjoy her own TV show. Anybody would be excited about that. The others are able to pout and bitch and whine anytime, but they put Hallie on a pedestal. I'm not sure I'm able to say what trope I think Hallie falls into, but they definitely take and take and take from her, and she's supposed to be strong and sassy and motherly all the time. In Season 2, Episode 20B, we're met with another snowman toy that looks exactly like Chili, but with red accessories. This other snowman is if Chili was a Chad. While Chili is always freaking out and forgetting he's a toy snowman, this dude, who calls himself Dude, that's his name, is athletic, confident, and self-aware. Chili feeling insecure makes a lot of sense. I mean, imagine meeting the better version of yourself. Oh, fuck. That's right. I'm Alpha Athena. I can leave the house without spiraling. Then why don't you leave the house right now? I don't want to. Yeah, that's what I thought, bitch. You're the bitch, bitch! You're the same bitch, you bitchy bitch. Whatever, man, I'm leaving. So that's not what happened in the episode, obviously. Chili's friends had to come together and list positive qualities about Chili, which are that Anyway, his friends love him despite the fact that he isn't particularly good at anything, which I'm not gonna lie, is inspiring. But this episode leaves me with more questions. How do these two snowmen have completely different personalities? I know people are gonna say nature versus nurture, but I don't think Chili was nurtured into being an anxious mess. I think that's nature. I mean, with the Hallie dolls, their occupation changes depending on what they wear, so is red just a more confident color? Or, if they were made by hand, did the personalities of the humans that put them together influence the toy's personality? This show is heavy on feelings and problem solving, so do you mind if I talk about more character development? Doesn't matter, I'm going to. In the Season 2 episode Lamb in a Jam, we hear Chili's huge fear of Doc's class pet, a hamster named Coleslaw. Adorable name for a hamster. But by the end of the episode, they are besties, and not only that, in Season 3's Take Your Pet to the Vet, when Doc gets to take home the class pet, Chili introduces the group to Coleslaw, saying she's a good friend. I honestly thought I'd be more annoyed by Chili, who needs constant reassurance and is an anxious mess, but instead I feel super seen by him. He's a real relatable cutie patootie with a heart of gold, actually. He alerted the group that Coleslaw the hamster seems sick, and Doc confirmed, although Doc did have enough self-awareness to know that Coleslaw needed to see a real vet. The vet said the hamster had a cold, and Chili freaks out thinking he gave her the cold because he's a snowman and snowmen are cold.
Chili,
You're a toy!
Can Doc prescribe him some Lexapro? In season 3, Stuffy the Dragon also gets his own pet named Squibbles. They found Squibbles at the park with no owner. It's clear Squibbles imprinted on Stuffy, but the Wikipedia makes it sound way weirder. What do they mean, a crush? The best part of Stuffy having a pet is it teaches him responsibility, and I didn't even realize until afterwards just how much he needed this lesson. Like, oh my god, Stuffy became significantly more likable after he had Squibbles as a pet. Same with Lammy and her kitten Whispers. Lammy is usually really intense and insistent on cuddles, and she learns the importance of patience when this cat doesn't immediately take a liking to her. Her song, I'll Wait For You, brought back memories of me and my cats when they were scaredy strays. And you know what? Maybe I teared up a bit. Fuck you. They challenged gender roles in a handful of episodes. Like in the episode Sir Kirby and the Plucky Princess, Princess Perry proves to Sir Kirby that she can do anything a knight can do. And in the episode The New Nurse, we also hear how women can perpetuate toxic masculinity as well. Dress Up Declan is the Ken to Dress Up Daisy's Barbie. But Dress Up Daisy is shocked to see him in a nurse outfit because she thought only girls can be nurses.
Boo! You stink!
She learns the error of her ways just like the knight Kirby does. And isn't it nice to see people admit that they're wrong? I think that's what I like the most about kid shows. They usually just wrap up things nice and neat, and it's cathartic to see.
Andy's calling everybody back to your places, hurry!
Well, you already know that Debbie and Declan are this world's Barbie and Ken, but what else is there? Well, in episode 12A, Doc's friend Alma accidentally leaves Moo Moo, quite literally the cutest stuffed cow I've ever seen, outside in the rain. And Moo Moo thinks Alma doesn't care about her anymore. So at first, Moo Moo wants to stay with Doc, but turns out it's just an honest mistake. We've seen toys being neglected in Toy Story. And in fact, it's taken to the next level in episode 19B, Bunny Blues. The stuffed animal Pickles was at Emmy's yard sale, and she thought Emmy was selling her. Here's the crazy part. Just like with Moo Moo, it was an honest mistake. Emmy's mom was like, I don't know how it got in there. Meanwhile, she literally had a price tag of 25 cents on her. Yeah, totally. An accident, sure. Emmy's mom's plan would have worked if it wasn't for Doc McStuffins. What will Doc do when kids co-sign the decision to get rid of their old toys? Remember the episode where Gabby the giraffe sings that no one wants a broken toy? You know what that reminded me of? Yes, indeed, Gabby from Toy Story 4, who, spoiler alert, had a broken voice box, and no kids wanted her. In season 2, episode 20A, Dad's Favorite Toy, Doc fixed her dad's favorite toy, Saltwater Surge, who lamented about being in the attic for years and years. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, that's where Andy was trying to put his toys before he left for college. He was putting you in the attic! The weird thing about this episode is that Doc knew her dad wasn't going to play with Saltwater Surge as much, so she suggested that he should give it to her little brother Donnie. Usually in this show, when a toy gets a new owner, we see their thoughts on being given to a new kid. They'll briefly turn alive again and smile or wink or laugh or whatever, but in this one, he's just in his still state. We never hear Saltwater Surge's thoughts on being given away. Luckily, we do get to see Saltwater Surge in the episode Mind Over Matter, when he felt out of place, upstaged and jealous over newer, more high-tech toys. In season 2, episode 29B, we see this show's version of Slinky the Wiener Dog. This is Sproingo Boingo the Fox. What the fuck do you know about Sproingo Boingo the Fox? With him being a fox, I thought we'd see sarcasm or slyness, but he's super genuine and easily tricked. He's nothing like Slinky other than being a similar toy. I'm sure there's even more comparisons I can make, but we gotta get to the time travel episode. Yeah, you heard me.
The past is far behind us. The future doesn't exist.
If we learned anything from Sofia the First, Lion Guard, Elena of Avalor, even Jake and the Neverland Pirates, you know that Disney will always elevate their power level beyond our comprehension. Frankly, I should have seen this god-level power-up coming, and I'm embarrassed. The first and only time travel episode in the series was in season 2, Let the Nightingale Sing. thing. Doc is reading a book on Florence Nightingale, the very first nurse. And if you don't know, this is a real historical figure. For them to learn more, Doc's stethoscope powers takes them into the book to 19th century England. Not only does Doc meet young Florence, but she also decides this will be the first person she shows her talking toys to. They are not worried about changing the future by sending Florence on a one-way ticket to the loony bin. Quite the opposite. Florence takes this surprisingly well. She gets to talk to her own toys, and she was so inspired by Hallie, that's how she decided she was gonna be a nurse. When Doc and friends returned to the present, they looked back at the history book and saw Florence wearing a pin with Hallie's face on it. In the season 3 episode Itty Bitty Bess Takes Flight, they didn't go back in time, but we learn about Bessie Coleman after Doc got a toy of her. She opens up her African-American woman's history book, and we hear and see flashbacks of Bessie being the first African-American woman to hold a pilot license. Really amazing to see history being presented in the show. I think educational programming in kids media is especially effective when you don't expect the show to teach you this stuff. Like, I really wasn't expecting to hear about history from a show about a kid being a toy doctor, but I'm glad I am. Michelle Obama also voiced herself in Doc McStuffins Goes to Washington. Doc McStuffins was invited to the White House after submitting a video of what inspires her. Michelle was on so many kid shows and had genuine charisma. Can you imagine Melania doing half of this shit? She doesn't even like Christmas.
You know, who gives a about Christmas stuff?
Things are getting real out here. Really real.
Now, this is a moment that made me feel like I was watching a full-blown medical drama. In season 2, 34B, getting to the heart of things, this whistle-blowing coach could not breathe. She was wheezing. Doc had to put her to sleep for surgery, where they opened up her back and replaced her tube. This is like a lung reconstruction surgery. And even though it only lasted a few seconds, the toys helping her with the procedure looked exhausted and stressed out, and Coach had to stay overnight to recover. Damn, dude. In season 3's Boxed In, a flamenco dancer named Flora was afraid of leaving her box. It sounded like agoraphobia to me. She fears leaving her safe place. I love when these shows address mental health as well. Sure, their solution was oversimplified to the point where she doesn't even need her box anymore. Wow. Another time a toy surgery hit incredibly hard was in the season 3 episode Space Buddies Forever, when Commander Crush lost 2 screws that hold his wing in place, and his best friend Star Blazer Zero donates 2 screws he doesn't need. It was like giving a kidney. Noble as hell. Look at their reaction. His selflessness is commended, and the 2 best friends sing You'll Always Be Part of Me. And that lyric gave me this exact reaction, no shit. And guess what? 2 episodes later, in Blast Off to the Unknown, Doc's neighbor Carlos is moving, and Star Blazer Zero is Carlos's toy. So the 2 best friends who just sang You'll Always Be Part of Me are crying because they'll never see each other again. Why? Ow! This is how Toy Story 4 was supposed to make me feel. In the next episode, Bust a Move, we meet the new neighbor, Dawn, and her toy, Ferris, who, much to Commander Crush's dismay, is nothing like his old friend. But they learn to be friends over bonding to this difficult change. And I guess mid-series is when they started focusing on these big life-changing events, because in the next episode, Baby McStuffins, Doc's mom and dad announced that they're adopting another child. And the pacing of this event was perfect. The baby didn't arrive for another 4 episodes. Some episodes had to do with preparing for the baby, some episodes had nothing to do with the arrival of the baby. I love the pacing of it because it feels like how an event would play out in real life. In Runaway Love, Lammy and Doc's little brother Donnie are being so fucking dramatic. As everyone was decorating the baby's room, those 2 weren't the center of attention for a total of 5 seconds. So naturally, they spiraled and threatened to run away. They both needed to be reminded of how special and cherished and loved they are. The next baby-related episode is Hootie's Duty, where Professor Hootsburg gets a new job to train the baby's new toys.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening! Stay calm!
In the season 3 special Bringing Home a Baby, the new child is immediately overshadowed by how equal parts mysterious and obvious the grandma is acting. And then, if you can believe it, we have a flashback of Doc with all her toys. Lammy was the first toy. Stuffy helped her be brave when she was trick-or-treating. She got Chili as a Christmas present. And last but not least, Doc got Hallie when her tonsils were removed. Her grandma got her Hallie and the stethoscope. telling her it's a special stethoscope that'll help you talk to them. She couldn't have been more direct if she tried. Immediately after that, in the flashback, Doc talks to her toys for the first time. And one major inconsistency that makes me chuckle is this tinier version of Doc sews up Stuffy's first of many injuries. But earlier in the show, when she was much older, she said she couldn't use needles and her mom had to do all the sewing. So what's up with that? We see Doc's new baby sister. Doc gets her this adorable stuffed koala named Lala, who talks in this infuriating baby voice. Insanely grating. Lala the koala names the new baby Maya. And it sticks. The parents unknowingly name their daughter what the stuffed animal suggested. But still, all the while, all of this is overshadowed by Granny McStuffins. I need to know more. This is Doc's dad's mom. So obviously questions are flying through my head. Did he know about the family magic? In the flashback, the toys were surprisingly knowledgeable about the magic. It seemed like a prophecy. They said something about the magic needing to be wielded by the correct child.
When you put the right kid with the right stethoscope, and that one right there is the right one for you.
Us toys can come to life.
So I was kind of correct, because in the first episode of Season 4, Welcome to McStuffinsville, Part 1, Grandma explains that she knows about the talking toys, and that she has her own stethoscope. She also says it skips a generation. I have many thoughts about this, but first let's talk about the toy spawner. She gives the toy spawner as a gift to Doc because she's ready. The toy spawner is shaped like a band-aid, but when Doc presses it, it slides open and teleports them to McStuffinsville. Her grandma showed them all this magical place that's named after them for some reason to put Doc in charge of the McStuffinsville hospital, where they even take toys from the human world that they see need help to give them the best care. Doc asked what we were all thinking, wouldn't her parents get worried? But conveniently, no matter how much time you spend in McStuffinsville, no time passes on Earth. I still think it would be incredibly disorienting to Doc. Like, she would still miss her family, but no time to worry about that. There's evil afoot. Stanley is a lion-bunny hybrid that lives atop an equally mismatched, haphazardly put-together tower to oversee all of McStuffinsville. He's brooding for sure. He is convinced that broken toys don't belong anywhere. He was abandoned at an airport. It sounded like he never wanted to be part bunny, so this Sid from Toy Story-like kid really scarred him. He immediately doesn't trust Doc and tries to ruin her first day at the hospital by carrying out an act of terrorism. In this world, that means spilling marbles and having everyone fall all over the place. He is also dragging Tiggly down with him. She is a squirrel keychain, and even though she wants to make friends, and even though she says that Doc seems nice, she is destined to be a sidekick. That is simply in the nature of keychains. That obviously changes by the end of the episode. Doc even fixes Stanley's broken heart and finds the kid that accidentally left him behind at the airport. I know I said I liked how easily they solve problems in this, but now that they're adding more plot, I wish he was a series-long villain. That would have been so fun. Season 4's Toy Hospital picks up with a brand new theme song highlighting the Toy Hospital because that's our main location now. Toy Hospital! Hilarious that this is right after they introduced her baby sister. Like, yes, surely this will be the biggest change. Nope, because we barely see her because Doc has a magical destiny now. I mean, even Professor Hootsley has a new destiny. I thought her new destiny was to teach the new baby toys. No, now she and Doc are teaching the main group how to be medical assistants. With how abrupt that change was, it feels like they did a focus group and realized that kids do not like younger siblings anymore. We focus on the strength of each of Doc's friends, putting them in charge of a different area of the hospital. Stuffy is in charge of the vet clinic, Lammy is in charge of the nursery, and Chili is in charge of scheduling appointments and taking phone calls. And can I just say, Chili not being anxious over the phone is impressive as hell. In Project Nursery Makeover, a stork delivers 4 baby dolls to the hospital. The stork also explains the occasion for their arrival. They were made for human quadruplets' 4th birthday, so they're also receiving brand new toys, getting them ready for them to meet their humans for the first time. Stuffy's injury in the episode Stuffy's ambulance ride was gnarly, I think I'm gonna be sick. Who was gonna tell me Doc McStuffins had gore? In the episode Cece's First Bath, they need to clean up Cece the baby doll to learn more about Maya, Doc's younger sister. But Maya is screaming her head off for this doll, and the main conflict of the episode is that Cece, the baby doll, cries every time she touches the water. Why don't you just use your stethoscope and freeze Cece, clean her without getting stressed, and give her back to the real human baby that's crying over her? We see Doc bond more with Cece, the baby doll, than Maya, her baby sister. Also, when they check in on Maya being rocked by Doc's mom, I realized, that doesn't seem like time is frozen. What's going on? I thought you said when they're in McStuffinsville, no time passes at home. The lie detector test determined that was a lie. In Chili's snow globe shakeup, Chili meets more snowmen and reunites with Dude the snowman. McStuffinsville has this giant snow globe. They even have a snow peep language, a language all snow toys can speak, which Chili instinctively knows. In the 12th episode of season 4, we meet the new McStuffinsville mayor, a platypus named Billington. He went to the hospital in an attempt to get rid of his stutter, but Doc McStuffins realized nothing about him was broken. It doesn't matter that he has a stutter. He's a great leader and a good person. Great message and a great example of how democracy works when majority of people living in an area aren't pieces of fucking shit. America did not elect Billington. America elected the person who is ableist to Billington. I hate it here. Someone teach me how to shift to McStuffinsville. In the season 4 episode On a Roll, our main character's main objective was to make McStuffinsville more accessible, adding ramps, railings, wider gates, elevators. I love McStuffinsville so much. Why can't I move here? The series also has the most natural crossover that I never in a million years would have guessed. Like, yes, it makes sense in the logic of this world that they would meet Winnie the Pooh and friends, but it still caught me off guard. My heart swelled, and I'm not afraid to admit it. There's only one thing I wish they would have done differently. Pooh's universe of 100 Acre Wood is through this rainbow waterfall, and I was hoping that once they went through it, they would switch to that iconic 2D storybook style. But alas, that is this episode's one flaw. In the special Lammy and the McStuffins babies, we take a look at the baby doll headquarters. The main way to make a baby doll is through the magic heart maker, because it takes a lot of love. When Stuffy, Chili, Hallie, and Lammy accidentally fall into the magic heart maker, they turn into baby doll versions of themselves. At the end of the episode, there was this small heart contraption that was never explained that made them older again. Also, what are the implications of that? This big heart machine makes them babies, but then this tiny one, because adults need less love? Is that it? But anyway, big takeaway, there's a way for toys to change their age. As if this world couldn't get any cooler, in the episode Emergency Plan, we meet gay people! We got 2 moms! Let's go! Their house accidentally gets destroyed this episode, which is kind of homophobic, but when it's rebuilt, we get this really weird extreme home makeover reference.
Move that dragon! Move that dragon!
Also, best thing to come out of season 4, the best buddies separated by moving are reunited in the episode Visiting Hours, and I shit you not, I jumped out of my seat and cheered. This show moves me.
I'd know the sound of your hippo hunters anywhere.
The pet rescue thing completely lost me. How the fuck are they supposed to run a hospital and save people's pets? Can anyone else in all of McStuffinsville pick up the slack? The second Christmas special is even more confusing, because power went out at the North Pole after Santa took off, so the elves cannot find him and Santa is lost. So no one receives presents Christmas morning. I hate a show that underestimates Santa's power level, you know this. I mean, Santa did try to offer Doc a job in the first Christmas special, so I guess we're seeing that play out here, because now Doc McStuffins is delivering all the toys. I don't know why they're having her peak at 8 years old, but whatever. Episode 4 of season 5 follows Chili accidentally launching himself into space to discover a new toy-inhabited planet. Here's the most wild part. During the takeoff, we see the planet McStuffinsville is on, and it looks exactly like Earth. So I googled, is McStuffinsville on Earth? Obviously meaning in the world of the show, but Google fucking snapped at me. No! McStuffinsville from the Disney show DOC MCSTUFFINS is not on Earth. It's a fictional, magical place where toys come to life, meaning it exists outside of our real world. Dumbass! First of all, don't ever raise your voice at me again. Second of all, I looked at the takeoff closer, and the texture actually looks like a plush version of Earth. And you know what? I'm kind of obsessed with that. Instead of meteoroids, they have marbleoids. The Mystery Planet's rings are those baby plastic ring toss rings, and on the surface of the planet, we have ball pits, slides, various foam shapes, and we meet the new alien toys called glorks, who are masters of charades, due to their blobby, moldable bodies. How is this a pet rescue episode? Don't ask me, dude. The many categories of Season 5 overcomplicates things. I don't know why they did this. In Season 4, it just said Toy Hospital during the theme song, but now we have Pet Rescue, Baby, Ultimate Safari, Arctic Adventure, and back to the basics with Toy Hospital. Toy Hospital! The first baby episode, we are introduced to Babyland, which is apparently outside of the nursery and outside of the factory where they make the baby dolls. Baby dolls have their own land, and you can only get there if you're baby-sized. When they need to get Cece back, which, reminder, is the baby doll, because we never actually care about Doc's actual baby sister Maya, the whole group turns into babies again. And Doc does too. So that machine works on humans too? Interesting. But in the episode Jumbo Mumbo, they went to Babyland regular-sized, with Chili's new friend, a giant baby mammoth. So I don't understand the conflict of the first baby episode. They had to turn into babies to get there, but now they don't have to be babies to be there. The categories also get super confusing in the episode Baby Jungle Jumble. It's categorized as baby, even though it could have been categorized as safari too, because the jungle animals are just as much part of the plot as the babies are. These jungle animals are tearing the city up when Chili sent the baby animals to Babyland, even though Babyland is only for human baby toys. We don't have a traditional Toy Hospital episode until the 10th episode of Season 5. And I get it, they were trying to expand the world with the Arctic and jungle and Babyland. But with this season being just 16 episodes, it feels super rushed. On top of that, I really liked Doc's dynamic with her family, and we never see them anymore. One of the most effective new places is Lost and Found Land. It feels kind of like the Isle of Misfit Toys, although none of them have that grit. They just appeared in this cardboard town, and the only reason Doc discovered this town is because Lammy was briefly lost. Doc found all of their families, and the leader of the Lost and Found group, a doll named Topsy Turvy Tilly, was actually Doc's grandma's doll. Doc's grandma said she never stopped looking, when Doc just stumbled into success. Classic Disney main character. It isn't enough that the main character has this insane career super young. She also has to be the best at it. Her and Sofia the First would get along. The only thing that doesn't make sense about Lost and Found Land is how come Stanley, the lion rabbit, didn't appear there when he was forgotten at an airport. They thought no one would notice these plot holes, but they were wrong.
Boom. A child. No.
The first non-McStuffins human in McStuffinsville that we see is Christopher Robin. The toys at first pretend to be not alive and go stuffed, but Doc, who knows Christopher Robin because he's famous, knows he's probably the only other kid to talk to his toys, so she feels comfortable around him. The second kid who ended up in McStuffinsville was completely accidental. His firefighter toy was so hurt, the McStuffinsville hospital team uses the toy box portal to rescue him. This is when they got caught by the firefighter toy's human child, Dev. This is the first and only time they were caught by someone completely unaware of this world. Dev grabbed onto them as they were escaping through the toy box and fell into the portal himself. Half the secret of landing your dream job is being at the right place at the right time. Because even though this kid started off like Chili, scared of everything, a total wimp, he and his toys ended up being the new McStuffinsville's first responder team. And when Dev gets back home, he can still talk to his toys, which is interesting. And we never see him again outside of background appearances. Whack.
I wouldn't go that far.
The two-part Safari special, Bedazzled, was way more interesting. Lammy is fueled by insecurity, so she agrees to help the Duchess of Dazzle get to this jewel tree so the Duchess can make Lammy feel better. And also to save the Duchess of Dazzle because she's pretending to be sick. She's pretending to need these crystals as a life source. Once they get to this crystal tree, they meet the precious pandas. The tree makes their bellies glow, which immediately brought me back to the Care Bears and their tummy powers, but the jewel tree reminded me of the elements of harmony from My Little Pony. If only these pandas were a 12th as iconic as either of those franchises. When the Duchess of Dazzle steals the heart jewel from the tree with the help of Lammy, the panda's village immediately goes dark and the precious pandas become weak. Lammy knows this is wrong and tries to get the jewel back from the Duchess of Dazzle. The Duchess runs away. The climax of this special is in this cave where everyone has to once again stroke Lammy's ego. How many times do we have to do this? But then we learn the Duchess of Dazzle's tragic backstory. She never had a kid. The one time where she was almost chosen, the kid dropped her for a more blingy version. Devastating. The penultimate 2-part special, Arctic Rescue: The Great McStuffins Meltdown, was the most effective anti-AI art I've ever seen. Plus, this is the first episode where Doc makes a mistake. They just barely avoided her being a Mary Sue. Doc thought all these robots would help the hospital run more smoothly, but instead, her and her friends were replaced. And worse than that, there was no real connection between patient and doctor. The robots were cold, they didn't ask the right questions, leading to more misdiagnoses. But that's not even the worst part. All the energy from the robots was causing the toy Arctic to melt. I wasn't expecting an episode of Doc McStuffins to call out the environmental consequences of AI, but since this episode was released in 2020, it came out at kind of the perfect time. Honestly, it was a bit ahead of its time. Doc and friends turned off the power and rejected the robots running the hospital, restoring the Arctic back to its former glory. It actually wasn't just as simple as turning off the robots. To undo the damage they did, they installed solar panels, and they helped the Arctic rebuild the houses that were destroyed when everything was melting and ice was sliding. In the series finale, It's a Hard Doc Life, Doc is so exhausted, she made a mistake overseeing the construction of the new water wing to the point where the hospital flooded. She's exhausted, the pressure's getting to her. She questions her career and if the hospital would be better off without her, to the point where she gets It's a Wonderful Life, meaning she does see what McStuffinsville would be like without her. First of all, it would have been overtaken by evil Stanley, who set out to make everyone as broken as him. There's also no water and all her toys are miserable. She wakes up from this nightmare more determined than ever, and she fixes her honest mistake. The water wing looks amazing, to the point where I wish we saw it more. The Doc is 10 special is part clip show, part call-in special, where real human children talk to Doc. Fully unnecessary. There is a 2023 miniseries called The Doc and Bella Are In, and even though it takes place after McStuffinsville Hospital, none of that is mentioned because it's in this robot chicken style of stop motion, which I'm sure is pretty limiting. Also, every episode is 3 minutes long. Doubt there's any lore there. I had to let the premise of this miniseries marinate in my mind, because guess what? I was gonna think nothing of it and dismiss it, but that is a toy version of Doc. You know why they're not in McStuffinsville? It's because this is a child playing with a toy of Doc and other characters. This is non-canon. Now for my final theories, rants, and thoughts. There is no reason Doc couldn't tell her parents and brother. I think they would have enjoyed this world just as much as her. This is what genuinely angered me the most throughout this series. I understand the gift skipped her father, but Doc's dad's mom still had her own stethoscope. Even if her son couldn't make these toys come to life, Grandma still could have shown him this. She could have brought her son's toys to life and brought him to her job. Why did they have this random kid, Dev, accidentally travel to McStuffinsville and not Doc's brother Donnie? One of my favorite parts of Sofia the First is her parents realizing how powerful she is.
I'm sorry, but I have to do this. I wish I was a flying horse. Wait!
One of my favorite parts of Hannah Montana is when she takes off the wig and reveals her true identity. Why have a secret that leads nowhere? Why have a secret with no stakes? Here's the other thing that I thought would eventually get revealed. We never hear how McStuffinsville got its name. I think it's because a McStuffinsville ancestor started the hospital, so the town was named after the family to honor them. But how far back does this gift go? Was there a time when more humans lived in this place? Or was it always just the McStuffins? We briefly hear about a cuddly revolution. Is that when teddy bears kicked out all the humans from McStuffinsville? How did the family get their magic? Don't you think their last name being McStuffins is a huge coincidence? If we go far back enough on the McStuffins family tree, was there a toy?
What?
I mean, Doc did turn into a baby with tech that supposedly only works on toys. One last thing. I think we're supposed to believe that Doc still wants to be a human doctor, but even outside of the toy hospital, as an adult, I think she'll still continue to just be a collector, fixer, maybe toy store owner. You know what's funny? Even though she's following in the grandma's footsteps, the whole toy doctor thing is a combination of her mom being a doctor and her dad being a handyman. I think it's cute. I think we should have seen more of her family, because by the end, she definitely enjoyed hanging out with toys significantly more than people. And I don't think that's gonna change. I don't think she's gonna be a human doctor. But lovers, as I mentioned, the pre-sale for this is going live March 1st. It's glittery, it's beautiful, it's comfortable, and it's so good! If you guys end up getting the titular bitchular shirt in one of 3 amazing colors, gold, silver, and rose gold, please send me a picture of you wearing titular bitchular. Tag me, Athena P. Lore on Instagram. I'm so excited. I really appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. Leave your headcanons about Doc McStuffins below, please and thank you. And have a great day. I demand it. Bye!